Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasting.
Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. The devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way.
Mountain Murders is an Appalachian true crime podcast. Some content may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
We say fuck a lot.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Mountain Murders.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Heather. How are you?
How you doing?
Don't you hush your mouth.
Why?
Let me ask you how you're doing. You know, enough about me, Heather. Let's talk about you now.
Go for it.
How are you doing?
Dylan, I am sick.
Oh, God, you old snotty bitch.
Yeah, I felt like I was coming down with something the other day, and I don't know if it's just allergies. I think we're on more of a cold, the cold's ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's moved from my sinuses, and now I'm coughing.
Oh, so now you think you have a full-blown cold.
Yeah.
Basically, COVID's little cousin.
Probably.
The common cold.
Lucky me.
Yeah.
Right? As we're heading into a holiday weekend with plans to go out of town.
Yeah, I know. I hope you
I
don't.
absolutely would get sick, right?
I really don't want you to be sick, and I want you to feel better because I don't want you to ruin my good time.
Oh, you mean like how you ruined my good time last year? Yes, that would be terrible.
I was
Dylan.
sick last year.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to call it.
Actually, I got really fucked up like the minute we got to the music festival.
Yeah, we're going to a music festival this weekend.
We're going to the Muddy Roots. By the time you hear this, by the time this drops,
Over in the Cookeville, Tennessee.
we will have festivaled it up. We will be grimy, sweaty, maybe a little bit sticky.
Dylan will be all caked up
Caked up.
with funk.
No, that's not true.
They have showers.
We're very clean people.
I will always shower. I can't say the same for Dylan.
Well, look, I gotta say, that was in, you know how they say hindsight's 20/20, right? That was not okay to go straight and get like super fucked up like as soon as we got there.
No, because that makes your wife very angry, especially when she paid for the tickets.
Well, there's that
Yeah.
part, and it was kind of lame. I mean, it's a dick move.
It's
and
a total dick move.
This was before I buried my alter ego, Dylan Fury. We have had a funeral and services for him since. He passed away sometime last year, actually about 5 months ago. And that's why it's going to be better, because I'm not a drunk anymore. You know,
You're not a raging drunk.
I'm not a raging drunk. I'm quiet drunk now. So
No.
I mean, things
Good.
it's improving.
Yay. That's awesome.
I just sit over here in nice hush, and I just sip on this devil's brew.
He sips on his like one allotted beverage that evening, and I'm like, "You better nurse it, 'cause that's all you're getting."
Heather, I'll be like, look, I'll just get one beer. And she's actually, I think, reached out to Congress people and some of their offices
You
to,
mean like congressional offices.
yeah, those.
Yes.
And she's actually requested some kind of regulation on the size of beers because she thinks it's ridiculous that I can get my hands on a 40-ounce beer, okay, in a glass bottle, no less.
I know, and then you'll say you rationalize.
I just had the one
I
beer.
just had the one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, but the one equals like 4. And
But-
you're like, no, what? Huh? It's just one.
That was a mini keg with 250 beers in it. Stop.
Yes.
All right, so here we are. I'm going to be a good boy, and I'm going to have fun with my wife. I cannot wait.
Yay, we're going to have the best time.
Or Eiffel Tower over the podcast.
Yay. Maybe I won't be too sick.
Oh, I
Dylan,
hope not.
before we get started, I just wanted to recommend some of the fantastic shows featured on the Darkcast Network.
Oh, man, Darkcast
Now,
Network is...
We are part of the Darkcast Network, and I'm so excited to share the network space with such amazing podcasts.
I got to say, they're doing the damn thing over there at the Darkcast Network.
Yeah, so this weekend, if you're interested in checking out some other podcasts, why don't you give a listen to Misty Mysteries, Horrifying History,
Ooh.
Freaky AF, Ford and Vegas,
Wait a second. These all titles of podcasts on the Darkcast
Cause of
Network?
Death. Yes. Castles and Cryptids. California True Crime. Burnt Marshmallows, if you're into creepy stories, which it's getting to be
Spooky season.
that season. So if you are looking for some good stories to chill your spine,
Wait a second.
Burnt Marshmallows is a great place to get those.
Let me do it. Boo, bish. Boo.
There you go.
Boo.
Book of the Dead, Beyond the Rainbow. CJ covers true crime in the LGBTQ community. It's a great podcast. Once Upon a Nightmare, Rogue Darkness, The Sinister Story Hour, and Scottish Murders,
Look,
just to name a few.
I've got to say, because they're...
Oh, and Weird True Crime. Who doesn't love weird true crime, right?
That is, there's a lot of podcasts out there.
There are so many
Right.
on the Darkcast Network, so check it out.
And some podcasts have, they just have stupid names or stupid concepts. I mean, it's not always a hit. But all
Like the Ketchup and Mustard True Crime podcast.
Well, no, don't call them out. You know what?
I don't even know if that's real.
Is that
but
real?
but it probably
just
is.
Ketchup and mustard.
It probably is.
The condiments. Anyway, but here we have.
Was that you squeaking the chair, or did you do something else?
I'm not Putin.
Did you step on a duck? Quack, quack.
They have some great names, and they sound like they have great concepts. I mean, just every one of those sounded interesting.
Yeah, you got to check some of those out. All right, Dylan, are you ready to get into today's case? It is a hell of a story.
Yeah, we can't waste any time. We want to make sure and get this down and ready to release for the public. So let's go.
Townsend, Massachusetts was first settled by Europeans in 1676 in an area known as Wissahickon. It is on the border of New Hampshire, about an hour's drive to Boston. And from what I understand, Townsend is a more rural sort of bedroom community.
Oh, yeah?
Suburb of Boston. It's right there on the border.
Sassy little suburb.
Okay. Are you done?
Yeah, I want to go stay there. Yeah.
Daniel LaPlante was born in Townsend, Massachusetts in 1970. There's not much known about his childhood. It has been reported that Daniel's parents were divorced. His mother, Elaine, married David Moore, a Vietnam veteran who served in the Marine Corps. Elaine worked at a business products company, and David was employed by a plastics firm. Daniel's childhood was pervaded with abuse, physical, sexual, and emotional, at the hands of his father.
It's such a bad recipe. We've heard this time and time again.
In school, Daniel struggled academically and socially. He was diagnosed with dyslexia. School officials were concerned over Daniel's lack of hygiene. He was the smelly kid in class. And his disinterest in any kind of self-improvement was a cause for concern. I mean, even the administrators at the school noticed that this is a young man who doesn't seem to want to take care of himself, poor hygiene habits.
Well, I mean, we have varying degrees of cleanliness and stuff, but when you see something that's extreme, well, I think oftentimes it is a sign of neglect at home. Maybe parents that aren't real hands-on or tuned into what their kids need because, you're going to notice a smelly little kid, right?
Oh, I think so.
And I feel bad. I've known people growing up that they had, wearing the same clothes and they're kind of gross. And, you can tell maybe they didn't have access to
soap and water.
Or
they didn't have someone encouraging them, like, hey, you probably should take a shower.
Yeah, let me make sure you have clean clothes.
They don't have good habits at home, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think that's a sign of a household that has issues, certainly.
Yeah, and I think there's also those kids that even if the parents are like, you need to go take a shower, there's just certain, and not even kids, but individuals, because I've known adults that don't shower regularly.
Oh, dude,
I've got a little friend, and she's this little hippie chick, and I love her to death, but she'll joke and be like, oh, I haven't had a shower in like 3 days. And I'm like, girl, what?
Yeah.
And then she'll say, like, I've been out playing disc golf all day and I haven't had a shower in 3 days. And I'm like, you better get your ass in the shower.
Oh my gosh.
I ain't hanging out with you tonight.
Suction cup to the car seat. Like, you need to do something.
Why you always got to be so
Peel
gross?
her off. Stop. No, I've actually been in HR meetings as a union representative over hygiene.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In the Navy, my friend got assigned to be the hygiene petty officer.
No.
We had a particular sailor who was struggling with hygiene habits and apparently didn't know how to do laundry and was just wearing the same undergarments.
What?
Yeah. And my good friend was assigned to be her hygiene PO and was tasked with, and I mean, it was a pretty embarrassing thing, but my friend was super squared away and like a leader, and they were like, okay, well, then we're going to assign you to take care of this young sailor. So she had to take her shopping for detergent, body wash. She had to show her how to do laundry.
So there you go. There's a prime example of somebody that grew up in a household where her cleanliness and needs were not, at the forefront, or her parents didn't,
like she really didn't know.
She didn't know.
She didn't know you were supposed to do laundry. She didn't know that you were supposed to shower every day.
Now, it is kind of weird and embarrassing, I'm sure, to be in a situation like this. I know it's weird to represent someone, and we're in here because they're talking about they smell, you stink, bro. I mean, but everybody has different BOs and strengths and all that. One of my daughters has like halitosis and stuff, and she has a old stank mouth when she wakes up, and but it's not her fault. But there are things you can do to make it better, and I'm always worried about the individual's comfort, right?
There you go.
But if you show up and I can smell you from over there, then we all leave smelling in this stinky old mill most of the time. But when you show up and you're already making my eyes water in the break room.
Oh, God, like an onion?
Yeah, that's a whole new concept or a whole new definition of onion booty.
Damn.
Instead of a booty that looks so good it makes you want to cry, it just smells like an onion.
Oh, gosh.
You're tasting them when they come, yeah.
Ah! Okay, moving
I've thought
on.
about making a movie called Tasting Dylan.
Okay, you're disgusting. And we're
this is real life. And real life is not always pretty, Heather. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. Sometimes it's fucking funguses and molds.
Okay, you little spore. Let's move along here. You big spore.
I'm perpetuating right now.
Daniel was a loner. He didn't have many friends, and most of the other children thought he was an oddball, strange,
Smelly.
and made them feel uncomfortable. One student recalled Daniel was not very friendly. He didn't go to parties. He never talked much. Daniel spent a lot of time in the woods behind his family's home.
I spent a lot of time in the woods behind my mom's home.
You did?
Yeah. That's where.
I spent a lot of time in the woods as well. I think that's what happens when you're like little mountain kids.
Just me and some old yard dogs, bud.
Because that's all you got around your house is some woods.
You go stay in the woods for like 8 hours. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Like you're on shift.
All day.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't come back till dark.
No.
Or someone falls out of a tree and breaks an arm.
And you got to be in hollering distance of your mom. You know what or your dad. You got to be where you can hear them holler from the front porch.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember having to be in hollering distance.
Oh, my God. Jesus. You were like 4 cities over, just chilling and shit, 5 years old.
It's true. At St. Bernard's High School, where Daniel attended, he was a C student, but he did run track and played football. It was recommended by school administrators that Daniel see a psychiatrist due to, a culmination of these things, such as the poor hygiene, the lack of friends, disinterest in academics. I mean, it was clear to administrators that something was up with this child. Daniel was diagnosed with hyperactive disorder. Now, instead of gaining positives from therapy, Daniel's life took another dark turn when the psychiatrist made sexual advances at the young teen.
Shut up.
For the next year, the doctor sexually abused Daniel during their sessions.
Here's this kid who needs help of some kind of help. For, they're not sure what's going on, but they feel like something's going on in his household or at home. And the first place he turns for help is nothing short of a predator.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's disgusting.
It is horrible.
It pisses me off, and that did nothing but make things worse for this poor boy.
A neighbor named Jill Gary recalled hiring Daniel her name is Jill Jerry. It's an E, not a A. Jill Jerry recalled hiring Daniel at age 6 to help her at the greenhouse that she owned.
Age 6?
Yeah. Well, she offered to pay him a few bucks if he would pick up some pebbles and stones from the pumpkin and squash patch. So it's not like she's utilizing child labor. She's just asking a little boy, would you like to make some money? If you'll pick up some of these pebbles out of these, garden beds, I can pay you.
Yeah, so she found a task suitable for a 6-year-old in their little tiny fucking hands.
Yeah.
And, now she's not paying any taxes, and he's not, you don't have to worry about workman's comp. I see what she's doing. No.
When she returned, Daniel had smashed every vine plant.
Oh
all
my-
of her squash, all of her pumpkins, just smashed every one of them.
Oh, my gosh. I bet she's like, what the hell's wrong with a 6-year-old?
Yes. She definitely was thinking that.
He's like, I'll show you pebbles, bitch. And he's just like throwing them at the
Bam,
pumpkins.
bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, you come back and just like $10,000 worth of fruiting plants have been destroyed.
Yes.
Like Daniel, dude.
Daniel's family home was described as, quote, barnyard animals and junk by those who lived around. His lawyer will later say that Daniel was a quiet, confused, and reticent kid, yet neighbors like Jerry dispute this claim. Most neighbors recounted Daniel as a troublemaker from day one, a kid who earned his reputation and needed to be watched like a hawk when he was around.
Yeah, especially if you got some squash in the backyard. Shit.
Now, it sucks to have a child neighbor that you feel inclined to eyeball every time they're around. We had a neighbor like this.
With a little badass kid?
Yes.
No, I can. That is so frustrating.
They have no boundaries. They're in your shit. They terrorize you, and they're kids, so you can't really. There's not a whole lot you can do.
I'll punch that little son of a bitch.
No.
Right in the little kid belly.
And most parents don't want to hear from a neighbor, hey, your
kid's some shit.
Yeah.
No, we really did. We've talked about it on the podcast before. If you're a long-time listener, I'm sure you've heard. But we had this neighbor, and her kid was and he was a little creepy kid.
He's a peeper.
He was a creepy. Well, it turns out we realized that he was actually participating in some rather deviant behaviors that we, with our true crime knowledge, assumed that he's only going to get worse if not treated.
Oh, well, there's other things that we learned, like he had committed arson when he was a child.
And threatened to rape a girl he went to school with.
Yes.
This is a little kid, folks.
And he's like 10 or 11.
But his mom would come over, and guess what? His mom had no boundaries either. But anyway, she would be in the living room talking to you, sucking all the fucking energy out of the room because she was certainly an energy vampire. And this little bastard, you'll find him in your room like 4
Digging
drawers
through the closet.
deep.
He would dig through
He'd
our
be in your
dresser
sex toy drawer
drawers.
talking about, what is this? Why does it smell funny, Mom?
What?
Yeah, little bastard. Get out of my underwear drawer, dude. He's in there, got my weed out and shit. I'm like, you ain't paid nothing on that, bro.
Okay.
You don't, man, my mama would slap the taste out of my mouth if I went into someone's house with her.
Oh,
And went into, because when I was growing up, you didn't kick it in your mom's room.
No.
It was almost like a temple or some shit. You enter with her reverence. If you went in mom's room for 10 minutes to help her do something, that was a big deal. You did not go in and out of her room. You didn't go in there and hang out. That was her room. I think we need to bring that back. The importance of your parents' room, and stay the fuck out of there and don't be digging through their gummies and stuff. That's how they'd be like, oh, you got to keep that stuff put up because kids will eat it. They'll think it's candy. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I don't want them fucking wasting all my gummies and shit. And then I got to go down to emergency room and sit for 12 hours because a little dumb fuck wouldn't listen to me and let me have the adult Skittles. Damn, just listen, kid. Let's move on. I'm glad I don't have no badass kids. I got a half a badass little granddaughter right now, but I'm setting her straight already. I told you yesterday that she'd make a great little trailer kid. If I give her just like a burrhead coat, just buzz her head, she stays dirty all the time. I don't know how she stays dirty. You could be in a clean room with this little kid and she'll be sticky. I'm like, where did the sticky stuff come from? Okay.
Oh, yeah. She's definitely a little girl who does not mind to get down in the weeds.
She'll
roll around on the floor. She don't care.
She'll
be in her cute dress out there digging in the dirt, making a mud pie. She don't give a shit.
Hair down to her waist.
I was that kind of little girl, too.
I'm like, cut that hair off that little kid's head and give her some, because she just stays dirty.
Well, her hair is pretty, and I understand parents don't really want to cut kids' hair. They have a little boy who's got beautiful curls.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm afraid the curls will go away.
They
and
do.
I've heard
They
a lot
do.
of parents say that. And it's the same with a little boy, little girl. Like, we have this beautiful long hair. We don't want to cut it, but It's very inconvenient for a kid.
It's
to
hard
have
for a
mane
kid.
of hair.
I had my oldest daughter. She had beautiful strawberry blonde hair down to her butt. I mean, she was just gorgeous. But I mean, all the time you spend fighting them, brushing it. You know, they don't want you to brush. It's all tangled. It's a rat's nest. And for the kid's sake, it's hard being a kid with all this damn hair.
It is true.
And when we did cut it, she was so happy. We were so happy. And yeah. So I'm a buzz cutter, and she make a great little trailer kid.
I was a trailer kid.
Little Kalani.
You was a trailer kid too.
Yeah, but I wasn't a badass little trailer kid.
From his early teens, Daniel began engaging in petty theft. He would comb the streets of Townsend looking for houses to break in. And by 15, he was committing full-on burglaries.
I think there's like this, gosh, I don't know how to say it, like this almost voyeuristic, almost like sexual, I mean like fetish type of vibe to burglary.
It's a
you see what I'm saying?
Thrill crime.
It's like
a crime that has a thrill.
Yeah.
Right?
There's other elements than just the crime there. You're sneaking around. You're in someone's shit. You're in their most intimate spaces, looking through their stuff.
Well, and Daniel, I think you hit the nail on the head, Dylan. Daniel liked moving objects around the house.
Oh, so
much like how Manson's crew did the creepy crawling.
That's exactly what I thought of when you said that.
So that the homeowner would know a stranger had been in the house. Like, he really got off on this.
Yeah, see, that's weird.
It appears Daniel enjoyed playing disturbing mind games with homeowners. Like you said, very deviant behavior. Yet Elaine Moore says their home was, quote, a caring household. And other relatives called the Moores salt of the earth people.
Well, you know, when you see your kid doing something, no matter what it is, you got to give them positive reinforcement. So you see them peeping in neighbors' windows, be like, that's good. Good job, son. That was a real good peeping you did. Yeah, keep looking at them, son.
Oh, why are you so weird all the time?
Peeping scares me.
I don't like
the thought of someone peeping in my fucking window,
I
dude.
don't like that. Nobody gets to enjoy my husband's body but me.
Yeah, baby. I'm doing a really good job today. Can we get a little positive reinforcement over here?
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. That was fake.
In 1986, Daniel LaPlante's antisocial behavior escalated. Somehow, he managed to get the phone number of a local family. Now, it's been theorized that Daniel broke into the home to secure the number. Frank Bowen and his two daughters lived in a large colonial-style home. Frank didn't believe his daughters when they began experiencing strange noises in the home around December of 1986. The girls would leave a room, returning to find the TV channel changed, and someone had consumed their drinks.
Oh my
Can you
God.
imagine leaving like an empty, or having a full like soda, like a ginger ale?
Yeah.
You get up, you go in the kitchen, you come back, and your ginger ale is gone.
And you think that you're the only person in the house? That would freak me out, dude.
Yeah.
And you leave, it's on Family Feud, and come back, it's on the Golden Girls? I mean, I'm not complaining, but I didn't change it.
They would often return home from school to find furniture moved, food missing, and items gone from the house. Since their mother had recently passed away from cancer, Frank chalked it up to the girls seeking attention. But then, an unexpected phone call came to the Bowen home. A young man who allegedly went to a differing school had gotten Tina Bowen's phone number. He described himself as good-looking, popular. After some phone calls, Tina agreed to go on a date with him to a local fair for ice cream. Now, when the big event arrived, Tina was shocked to open the door and see skinny, smelly Daniel LaPlante standing there.
Oh, my God.
She had been catfished.
She was catfished before catfishing was even a thing.
Tina was torn. On one hand, she had remembered the way Daniel had made her feel on the telephone when they had spoken. They had gotten along. He was cool. Like, she really liked him.
Damn.
Yet, here he was in the flesh, a far cry from what she'd expected, and he had lied to her about what he looked like.
So he has like a silver tongue on the phone, huh?
I guess so.
It's like Roxanne, right? It's like the story, or what is that story? Platypus. What's the guy's name? Cyrano, that's it.
Platypus, yes.
It's almost like that, you know? But instead of a big nose and all this, he's just stinks. And he's like a little skinny, scrawny kid.
Hiding in the bushes.
Dude, what would you do if like some 11-year-old got your number somehow and called up, but he's all, hey, baby, how you doing? You're like, damn.
Well, first, I'm married.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Let's say you're not. Okay. Let's say you're on the market.
Oh, I'm probably not going to go out with some rando that I don't know.
Well, you might be like, hey,
And
baby.
especially now that I'm older, I'm probably not going to go out with anybody. You
And
know
then-
why? Because I'm a bitch and I hate everybody. So
She's
I'm
a-
not interested in dating.
She's a bitch. She's a lava.
She's antisocial. She wants to stay at home. She loves her dog and her sweatpants. She don't need no man.
And then the big date comes because this guy has, he's really got kind of wiggled his way into your heart. Because he'd be on the phone talking like, hey, baby, I'm going to make you feel good when we come over there tonight. Yeah, baby. And he shows up, and it's just an 11-year-old kid. His mom's dropping off in like a shitty station wagon or something, talking about he needs to be home by 8.
Okay.
Well, would you go through the date just to keep from hurting the kid's feelings? Or would you tell him this is wholly inappropriate?
This is such an odd hypothetical
I
scenario.
know. This is
Dylan,
a great thought
that
exercise.
Well, one, I don't want to think right now, and two, I'm not interested in exercising. It's way too early for that.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I don't get my exercise on till the afternoon.
You just answered my question.
I'm not going on a date.
You'd go out
anybody.
with this fucking 11-year-old, Heather. Jesus. Fucking weirdo,
No,
dude.
but I'd go out with his daddy.
Yeah, his daddy'd be like, hey, baby.
I might go out with his granddaddy.
His granddad'd be like, hey, baby, you see my son or
His
my grandson over there,
his
girl?
granddaddy's only probably like 45, so
Yeah, you know they're having kids young in this household.
I'd be going out with his granddaddy.
Wait, I'm a 45-year-old granddaddy.
Exactly.
What the fuck kind of trash did I come off of?
Some good trash.
Yeah,
The
baby.
good kind of trash. The extra trashy trash. Now Tina,
Yeah, baby.
Tina agreed to go on the date with him anyway. Research had led me to believe that the date didn't go well, although I don't have exact specifics about what happened on this date. What I did find out is that Tina had confided in Daniel about the death of her mother and how painful it had been. Instead of trying to comfort her or feign interest, Daniel started asking her inappropriate questions. Like, well, how did you feel like the exact moment your mother died?
See, this guy, this young man.
Disturbing.
No, it is disturbing. Yeah, I don't know. Let's keep moving. Daniel, what's going on with him? What does he go on to do? I'm so.
Tina couldn't get away from him fast enough. The date had been a bust. Lesson learned, right? You just chalk it up to, all right, this was a bad date. But soon after, the girls reportedly used a Ouija board to perform a seance. They began hearing knocking within the walls. Their father didn't believe it was anything supernatural that was responsible for these unexplained noises. One evening, the noises were extremely concerning to the girls, and Frank wanted to prove that there was no ghost, but instead, a search of the home revealed an unwanted visitor.
They found Daniel in the house?
Dylan, you know that old urban legend about someone living in the walls?
Yeah, it's called the movie People Under the Stairs.
Yeah, well, that's what happened here.
No.
Dressed in what has been described, it's been described as different costumes in the media. One described it as a ninja costume, and someone else described it as like a Native American type of costume, and he had his face painted. Those two outfits are very different.
Wait a second.
So I'm not really sure how you could confuse a ninja with a Native American.
Honey, the answer's right in front of your face.
I don't know.
It's an Indian ninja.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
And
sense.
I did not know that was a category, but now I want to be one.
Well, one, they're an indigenous person. They're not from India, right?
Oh, well, it's okay. Look, it's a first person ninja. Can I say that? That's what they call
Yes.
indigenous
But
people in
that-
Canada.
Doesn't really make any sense.
You can't say Indian. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Unless they're from Indiana.
No. Let's see. You've got me all off track.
Holy shit.
So Daniel LaPlante was inside the Bowens home armed with a hatchet.
Okay.
He terrorized the family along with one of the girls' friends who was staying over. So Frank Bowen and 3 young girls.
This is when they discover him.
Yes.
And he has a hatchet on him.
Yes.
So
and
it's just
he's,
went
and he's
from-
dressed in some kind of costume.
And he's dressed in an undetermined uniform
Yes.
that I'm pretty sure is an indigenous ninja.
Something to that effect.
And so this just went from weird and like whatever to fucking scary.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be scary, but I mean, this just went to like it's been ratcheted up.
You
the
find this
situation.
guy in your house with a weapon. He threatened the family with a hatchet. He smeared ketchup and mustard on the walls. Daniel opened a bottle of wine and had 2 glasses out, but he didn't drink any of it.
Wait, how old is Daniel at this point?
Like 15, 16.
Well, I would have whooped his head, little hatchet wielding ass.
He stabbed knives into the family's walls.
So he's going around tearing the place up, basically. And they're like, what the hell? They're scared, and they're scared, obviously. Like, get away from this. We don't know what's happening. And he's just going around tearing shit up. And wasting my ketchup and mustard.
You'd be mad.
Oh, man, don't fuck with my
Nothing
condiments.
bothers Dylan like going to grab some ketchup or mustard, and there's not any.
Well, look, just being out of condiments, that's something you should have at all times. Ketchup, mustard, mayo. And there's a lot of other
We go
condiments.
through a lot of Duke's mayo in this house.
Well, that's because it's the best fucking mayo, okay?
I feel like I'm constantly buying mayonnaise. And I don't even eat it that much. So I'm like, who is eating all this fucking mayonnaise?
No,
but then I
but-
see you make a sandwich, and I'm like, oh, well, that explains it. As it's got like a 3-inch layer of mayonnaise on both pieces of bread. I've never seen somebody douse a sandwich in condiments like you do.
Fuck, dude. So good.
It's not.
It is part of the
You can't even
signet.
taste the sandwich because it's just
That's not true.
condiment. It's like, wow, I got a mustard sandwich.
Hey, I grew up on mustard sandwiches. I've literally ate mustard sandwiches.
Trailer Park Kid.
Trailer park, hell. I mean, you'd be happy to have that damn mustard sandwich. Eat some sugar toast, like you.
Oh,
what
yeah.
you tell me about
Cinnamon sugar toast.
your friend? Oh, and milk toast. Remember your friend?
Yes.
Had the grandma who grew up during the Depression.
Yeah, my friend's. I was telling Dylan the story the other day. My friend's grandmother grew up during the Great Depression, and my friend and her sisters. There was always a joke about the grandma being the worst cook, and that she always had the worst food.
And she
so
would
when they were
eat
kids and they
anything.
would stay with her, she would make the worst food, and she never had cereal, but she would tell the kids, "Well, you can just have some milk toast. It's the same thing as cereal." And then one time she got a deal on this gigantic bologna chub. And my friend said
hilarious.
she made everything with this damn bologna chub, including like chipped beef, like the chipped beef on toast kind of thing.
With some
chipped ham.
gravy.
But she made chipped bologna with some kind of gravy, and was like, "Here you go, kids."
Meemaw, what's for dinner? A bologna roast.
Yes.
It's bologna for 5 days,
It's true.
guys.
It's exactly what the grandma did.
No, and it really does point out how intense the Depression was, because anyone who did remember growing up during that time, they're like that. They won't waste anything.
No.
They will not spend money.
Bread bags.
Yeah, save everything.
I remember my great-grandma saving bread bags, and she'd put like leftover biscuits and stuff in them and send them home with you, or cornbread,
Works perfect,
instead
right?
of buying Ziploc bags. Okay, so the knives were stabbed into the walls. Finally, Frank was able to help one of the girls escape from a window. A call was placed to law enforcement. However, when police arrived, Daniel was able to elude arrest. Frank Bowen and his daughters were so scared, they left their home. Like, left in the middle of the night with no possessions and went to a hotel kind of thing. Like, they were terrified.
I guess you really can't believe them. I mean, blame them. How would you not be?
Oh my gosh, it's so scary. About 2 days later, Frank returned to the house to pick up some belongings for his family. He spotted a familiar face in the window and called for help. A police officer arrived moments later and was able to arrest Daniel LaPlante. He was arraigned and sent to a juvenile facility where he remained until October 9th of 1987. So he's still in this family's house.
They left terrified, and he's just hanging out, tearing shit up, doing whatever he wants to do.
Yes.
The balls on this kid.
Yeah. He
I mean,
has
really?
no fear. Just like those terrible 90s T-shirts. He's no fear.
Hey, no fear was a big deal.
You know what? A few years ago, it might have been about 2 years ago, I was in H&M, the clothing store, in Raleigh with my daughter. And they had a whole section of no fear T-shirts. 'Cause
Wow.
you know that whole Y2K style is back in or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They had no fear shirts. And my daughter's like, "What's that?" And I had to explain to her, like, it was a cheesy brand from back in the day.
It was the shit.
I think she wanted to buy one.
Dude, I
Anyway.
want some body glove shit.
I want some hypercolor. Remember?
Where you put your hand on it
and
and
it changes
yes.
color. Yes. I want one of those.
Oh, I want some windsuits too.
We'll get you one.
No, like the Nike one, remember with that? And you could hear people coming from down the hall before you even saw
It
them.
was swishy.
It's like,
Yeah, it was swishy. They
it's
were
like a fat guy in corduroys.
Okay, so he's arraigned. He's sent to this juvenile facility, and he remains there for several months until his mother, Elaine Moore, is able to take out a second mortgage on their home to pay the $10,000 bail, which had been set for her son. Now, it turns out Daniel had been hiding in the walls of the Bowen home. He was staying in the basement and even a closet where he hid under clothes.
I'm trying to figure out what kind of house these people got where a kid can fit in the fucking walls, bro.
Well, they live in like a large kind of Dutch colonial style house.
Now, I must say, we're in a 1905 Edwardian period house, and you could, it's so creaky now, but maybe before, you could sneak around.
We have some strange little closets
We have,
and nooks and crannies here and there. I think somebody could hide out if they really wanted to.
If somebody was hiding in this house,
we have like a servant staircase that runs from the kitchen to the upstairs.
Yep.
And we don't use it because it's very
creepy as
narrow
fuck.
and steep and creepy and weird, and it smells strange, like an old dusty mothball.
It smells like old timey.
It does. It's weird.
No, but we have
but
some
somebody
passages.
could totally be hanging out in that area. We would never know.
Oh, if they were just in the stairwell, just kicking it?
Yeah.
Oh, what if you go in there and there's people who's got like a whole little house in there?
Somebody could be in our attic and we wouldn't know.
Oh, fuck.
Because that attic is gigantic
And
and
it's
empty
scary.
and super dark. So someone could hide up there if they wanted to.
And we don't even go up there. They could be up there right now.
The attic weirds me out.
Hold on a second. I'm going to go search our house. I'll be back in a
I hear
minute.
strange noises all the time. And I've been thinking it's a ghost, but it's probably just some weird 15-year-old kid.
Well, I wish you'd do things like you come back and the floors are clean. You know?
Yeah, like
Why
fuck with
can't it
me
be
like that. Like when I
can't it
come
be
home, why is
helpful?
my house clean?
Like, I know I didn't clean that toilet, but it's so clean. It's
I know I
never
didn't make
smelled
these
better.
lemon poppy seed muffins, but damn, they're good.
That's the kind of
Thanks, strange person in my wall.
That's the kind of thanks, Roach. That's the kind of harassment I want.
It turns out that Daniel had been hiding in the walls, as I mentioned, and I believe this term is called frogging. Phrogging.
Hiding in the walls?
Like when you are living in someone's home without their knowledge.
Holy shit.
Which has happened more times than you'd want to believe. That people find a stranger living in their basement, their attic, their closet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found you just last week, and you're like, look, we've been together for 5 years. You just didn't know it.
It was December 1st of 1987, less than 2 months after being released on bail, that Daniel LaPlante entered the home of Andrew and Priscilla Gustafson. The Gustafson home was located not far from Daniel's house. It was just a short walk through the woods behind Daniel's home. Basically, cut through the woods, shortcut, and you'll wind up at the Gustafson's home, right? Andrew was one of the 2 attorneys working in rural Townsend. His wife, Priscilla, works as a church nursery school employee, so like a nursery school teacher. Around November 16th, the Gustafson home had been burglarized. There had been a rash of break-ins in their neighborhood, and someone had taken a cordless phone, 2 television cable boxes, a remote control for a TV, and some coins from a Liberty silver dollar collection.
Who takes the remote and not the TV?
After stealing these items, Daniel placed the cordless phone and cable box in his brother's tool cabinet. Daniel informed his brother Stephen that he was hiding the items so his parents wouldn't find them. At the time, Daniel's brother also recalled seeing him with silver coins. 7-year-old Abigail Gustafson was in school that day, but would arrive home around 3:30 p.m. Priscilla and 5-year-old William usually returned to the house around 2 p.m. That is what time Priscilla got off work at the nursery school, and William was a student at the school. Andrew had closed a big deal earlier that day and wanted to take his wife out to celebrate. He called the house 3 times, beginning at around 3:45. Andrew had hoped Priscilla would be able to secure a babysitter so they could go out that night. Again, closing a big deal, wants to celebrate.
Yeah.
But Priscilla never answered the phone. Andrew Gustafson arrived home about 5:30, which was the usual time. Priscilla's car was in the driveway, but the home was eerily quiet. Andrew knew something wasn't right. When he entered the bedroom, Andrew found his pregnant wife, Priscilla, on the bed. She was lying face down with a pillow, like on top of her head. Priscilla had been beaten badly, then shot twice in the head.
My God, I can't imagine finding my wife, my pregnant wife, like that. I mean, damn.
Andrew ran to a neighbor's home to call for help. He would later say he was too afraid to look for the children. Law enforcement arrived at the Gustafson home, and they made another shocking discovery. Both children were in separate bathtubs. They had been drowned.
Man, what the hell?
So
The whole family.
they theorized that Priscilla and William were probably killed first, and then when the little girl came home, the perpetrator attacked her as well. Police quickly began their investigation in the Gustafson triple homicide. It didn't take long for the name Daniel LaPlante to make a short list of suspects. Around 2 p.m., he was found the following day studying at the library. Daniel was questioned briefly. When police found more evidence linking Daniel to the crime scene, they returned to the Moore family home to question him once again. But instead of cooperating, Daniel ran into the woods behind his family's house, the same woods that connected to the Gustafson residence. Investigators were able to locate a .22 caliber bullet casing matching the ones found at the Gustafson home. A shirt and gloves allegedly worn during the commission of the crime were found discarded in the woods, as well as a nameplate belonging to the Gustafsons. So as law enforcement is chasing Daniel through the woods, they're doing the search for him, they find these items.
Yeah. Like he might have had these items on him, and now he's throwing them down.
The gloves were still wet, which detectives speculated Daniel had worn them when drowning the children. A condom was also found in the bedroom by Priscilla's body, which detectives believed was a sign of sexual assault. A task force was created with 25 state troopers working this triple homicide.
So they're not playing around.
Not at all. A chemist with the Department of Public Safety was able to test the bedspread and found semen and sperm cells near the corner. In the bedroom closet, a knotted brown sock was discovered, dampened with saliva, as if it had been used for a gag on Priscilla. There were also 7 ligatures found, a necktie, a sock, a stocking, and some pantyhose which had been knotted and cut. A nearly full bottle of beer was found in the bedroom. Again, this is like Daniel's MO. He opens an alcoholic beverage and just leaves it behind.
That's so weird.
Because in the Bowen household, he had opened a bottle of wine, had 2 wine glasses out, didn't touch it. And here he's got an open beer, didn't touch it in the bedroom.
I wonder what that represents to him.
I don't know. I mean, I think about it, and I'm like, well, if you were like a 15, 16-year-old kid, you would think that was rebellious to have an alcoholic beverage.
But you're not drinking it.
Though, yeah, I know.
But you could because it's out.
Yeah. Maybe that's the
I could drink that if I wanted
thought
to.
process.
Because I'm a badass.
I can do whatever I want.
I'll do whatever I want.
Maybe, I don't know.
Fuck Daniel.
Maybe he's just wasteful.
I see.
In the trash can were some pieces of paper which turned out to be pornographic images pulled from a magazine. So they were like ripped out pages from a dirty mag in the Gustafson's trash can.
Man, that's another thing lost to time in history is a good solid dirty magazine. A smut rag, if you will.
Police were able to link 2 stolen Ruger .22 caliber guns to a daytime burglary of the Pendell family on October 14th of 1987. So this is another family in the neighborhood. Guns and a large sum of cash were stolen during that robbery. About 3 weeks later, David Moore found the stolen guns in Daniel LaPlante's laundry basket. When confronted, Daniel told his stepfather that he had owned these guns for more than a year.
Oh, that's just my guns.
One of the stolen firearms was used in Priscilla's murder. During the same time period, Stephen LaPlante, Daniel's brother, and a friend noticed that Daniel had a few $100s in cash, although he was unemployed at the time. So this would have been around the time that he had stolen the guns. He also had a pocket full of money.
Right. And it sounds like he's kind of flashing it around. People know he has a pocket full of money, which doesn't add up because how did you get all this money? I mean, it's one thing to have a few bucks, but when a young person has hundreds of dollars and no job, that just doesn't, where did you get all this?
Daniel's brother and friend will later say he had been bugging them about buying bullets. Daniel claimed he wanted bullets so he could make one big bullet and sell it.
Well, I mean, okay, so look, obviously he's done some terrible things and he's weird, but to get in on the big bullet market, the potential for growth there, I mean, I think Daniel's forward thinking in that. And I think
big bullets, big bullets.
It's a Daniel's Big Bullet or House of
A big-
Crazy House
big
of
bullet extravaganza.
I just wait. We got big bullets and
Come
bigger
on
bullets.
down to the big bullet building. Ask for Daniel.
Bring all your little bullets. We put them together, make you one big bullet.
Exactly.
Down here at Daniel's Crazy House of Big Bullets.
Well, toward the end of November, the friend, whose name was Pulaski, finally gave Daniel some bullets from the .22 carton he owned.
He probably wanted to see the big bullet.
Well, he really just wanted to, I think, get this kid to leave him alone.
Yeah, here's 10 little bullets. Why don't you go see what you can do with that, bud?
Pulaski gave the remaining bullets to a coworker. Ballistics tests and lab analysis will reveal the bullets were the same brand, caliber class, and casing composition as the ones used in Priscilla's murder. Daniel would also be linked to the murder using forensic evidence. Blood analysis will determine the killer was a type A secretor, the same as the semen stain on the bedspread. Fibers from the shirt located in the woods, which had been worn by Daniel on the day of the Gustafsons' murders, along with a pair of socks in his bedroom, matched fibers found at the crime scene.
Well, there you go.
On December 2nd, Daniel claimed he was watching music videos on MTV during the time of the murders. Yet when state troopers wanted to further question him, he took off on foot. On the run, the next day, Daniel broke into 2 homes located in Pepperell, Massachusetts, and stole a .32 caliber revolver from one of those houses. He tried breaking into a 3rd home without success. Then Daniel broke into the home of a woman named Pamela Makila, then ordered the woman at gunpoint to drive him to Fitchburg in her van.
This kid. I mean, this is a full-on crime spree.
Yeah. Makila was able to jump out of the van and escape. Daniel was spotted in the stolen van by a state trooper. Daniel led police on a chase to Ayers, Massachusetts, to the Malumbo Industrial Park, a lumber yard where Daniel was located, finally hiding behind a dumpster.
He should go and jump in it because he's trash.
Daniel was taken to a state trooper barracks where law enforcement found the .32 caliber revolver hidden in his underwear. He also had a .32 caliber bullet hiding in his right sneaker.
Wait, and then you know what else they found? This really shocked them.
A big bullet?
They found a big fucking bullet in a backpack.
I was going to say, you don't even want to know where it was stuck.
And they're not even sure what gun it goes to because it's like so big. Like you'd have to make a big gun to shoot it.
It's basically a cannonball.
But the Department of Defense actually, you cannot even find the drawings of this big bullet. They've gobbled it up. It's part of the secret defense units that are in space now.
Look, bud,
Space
I
Force.
have a head cold and I'm feeling a little loopy and need to take some medicine. So, help me get through this episode.
Space Force.
Sneaker prints, a size 11 to 12 Converse, matching Daniel's sneakers, were found in the flower bed along the front of the Gustafson home.
Can I say this is a lot of evidence pointing towards Daniel?
Yeah.
And I would not even, it's not circumstantial either. It's just full on evidence.
Police brought in tracking dogs after the murders, and they were able to track in the woods behind the victim's home. The gloves that were found during that search had gunshot residue once they were tested.
Jesus.
Okay, so let's get back to the tracking dogs. The dogs were able to sniff the shirt, and they tracked through the Moore's family yard within 3 to 4 feet of Daniel's house.
Of course they did.
On April 7th of 1988, Stephen LaPlante and friend Pulaski discovered the murder weapon stashed in a glove compartment of an abandoned Jeep Cherokee on the family's property. With fear in the air, it was important to make an arrest. Many people in the community remained in their locked homes until an arrest was made. Daniel LaPlante was ordered to undergo 20 days of psychiatric evaluation at Bridgewater State Hospital. Yet, he would be found sane at the time of his crimes. And Bridgewater is no joke. We've discussed some of the asylums of the olden days.
Our asylum series was so much fun.
And Bridgewater is no exception. It was not a good place to be.
They're all House of Horrors.
Just-
And House of Horrors.
Oh, yeah.
Not a House of Horrors.
Despite being charged with 3 counts of murder, Elaine Moore told the media, quote, "I'm supporting my son all the way. I don't believe he did this. He's not a violent person at all." Yet neighbor James Jerry told the Berkshire Eagle following Daniel's arrest that the boy was, quote, Always a little scary and always a problem.
Yeah, the neighbor was quoted as saying, "That boy's crazier than a shithouse rat."
Daniel's brother-in-law, only known as Leo in the press, stated that on the evening the murders took place, the family gathered in Fitchburg to celebrate a birthday. Daniel's 6-year-old niece was having a birthday party. So at the time Andrew Gustafson was discovering his family had been brutally murdered, Daniel was at this little girl's birthday party playing with her and eating cake. Leo said he didn't believe Daniel was capable of the crime. How could a teenager kill a family and then go attend a birthday party like nothing had happened, is what this brother-in-law asked.
Read up on sociopaths and psychopaths, bro, because that's the only way you can do that.
Daniel's attorneys tried to paint a theory that there was insufficient evidence to convict their client. In particular, the defense focused on Michael Pulaski, Stephen's friend, the brother's friend, who had given Daniel the bullets. Yet Pulaski had a solid alibi. He was working at the time of the murders. He had time cards and eyewitnesses who recalled that he was at work at the time.
Well, come on, Daniel's got a history of breaking in, being places he's not supposed to be.
I mean, his defense attorney's just trying to do
I know he's trying.
what defense attorneys do.
Well, I know he has a job to do, and one of their go-tos, I think, top 3 go-tos are to bring up another person, another possible suspect.
Daniel LaPlante was given 3 life sentences for the Gustafson murders. From the years 1988 to 2014, Daniel has appealed his sentence and tried to sue the courts for multiple violations of his rights, including being denied pornography in jail. Certain eroticas, like published eroticas, are allowed in prison, and since Daniel was being denied access, this was a violation of his rights.
Fuck you, Daniel. How about that?
Yeah, how about you murder a mother and her 2 children and her unborn child?
Why? For what?
Oh, but your complaint is that you can't get Hustler in prison.
Yeah. Well, my complaint is the fact that you're still alive. Okay? There's my complaint. They should have been the first person in history executed with a fucking big bullet. Okay?
You're not going to let the big bullet
I'm
go,
not.
are
That's
you?
one of the greatest things. I honestly think there's a market for big bullets because if you have all your bullets into one big bullet, it's easier to keep up with. Think about it. Huh? And then you just load the one big bullet into this really big gun and fire it. You got the stopping power of all these little bullets culminating to one great big bullet, and then boom, your target doesn't stand a chance.
I stopped listening to you about 2 seconds ago. So can we move along then? Daniel's appeals have been rejected, and he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Sadly, Andrew Gustafson, I will get that out.
I'm sorry, Andrew, for everything you've been through, including my wife saying your last name.
He passed away in 2014 before learning that Daniel would definitely spend his life behind bars.
Well, 3 life sentences, that's a steep sentence. I mean, that's a hard one to beat, I would think, because even if you have, I don't know. But I think he should have had the death penalty.
You think so?
Well, yeah, he wiped out an entire family. How do you drown kids? Kill a pregnant woman? For nothing. Because he's sneaking around hiding under the fucking, hiding under the love seat.
He's dangerous, and he definitely does not need to be walking the streets. I think Daniel's a true threat to society, and he strikes me as someone who cannot be rehabilitated.
No. These deviant behaviors, the way he, started small and just kept getting worse.
Prison is the best place for this guy.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yes, locked away as long as, the guards and other inmates are safe from this monster. And they're lucky that he's lost access to some stuff that he used to have. Like a big bullet.
My resources for today's show, I consumed a lot of newspaper content from the time period.
Yeah. I would think this story was covered.
There's not a book or anything written about it, which is unusual because
Really?
it's a big case.
Wow.
There is a British author, I think his name is Joe Turner, who claims he's writing a book about it, but I could not find the book for sale. So maybe it's not been published. I'm not sure. There was also an episode of the TV show Your Worst Nightmare called Bump in the Night. It was a 2015 episode which covers the Daniel LaPlante story. There's also a ton of information on the internet. A lot of other true crime podcasts have covered the case. I did listen to a few of those. I listened to True Crime All the Time's covering of this case, and Haunted as Fuck, another podcast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Just to get some more information. I really wanted to get more information about Daniel's early life. You guys know I really like kind of deep diving into childhoods because I do think it helps explain some of the crimes. But there's, again, not a ton of information out there.
Right. No, I think you did a great job. I was not familiar with this story.
I'm not sure why this is not a more well-known case.
Well, it's got all the elements, the shock,
It's
the
disturbing.
age of the kid, the history of the kid as he gets older and just keeps, doing worse and worse things.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just goes to show his mother bails him out. He's in juvie, basically. Gets bailed out, and then 2 months after, or not even a month after he gets bailed out, 2 months later, he's murdering a family.
Yeah, and then his mom's like, well, I'm still standing by my son because I don't believe it, even though they have a mountain of evidence pointing towards your son. I mean, at what point?
I mean, you can still, love your child and be upset about what's happening, but I just don't know how you can live in such denial when there's so much evidence.
Well, you can open up with, I can't believe my son may have done something this terrible. And I'm still processing that, and it's hard. But I feel terrible, horrible for the victim's family. And I don't know. I mean, blindly supporting your kid, and we just the Todd Ice case is a prime example. Or not Todd Ice, but what was he?
Gibson.
Is that right? The one, yeah, the one who had molested a 7-year-old as a juvenile. No one knew, and blah blah blah. And the mom's letting other kids still come stay around his piece of shit ass shitbird, and just I just never believed my son could do this. And this is like how often do you hear these stories about females, about someone's daughter? Very seldom, right? There's a certain type of violence and monstrosity. And in this day and age of gender, politics, and identity, I don't know if this will offend anyone. Men do a certain type of and level of violence that women don't typically do. Not saying women don't do violent things. I'm not saying a woman won't, women are a lot more devious than men if they want to be, but it's just violent. This type of monstrosity is typically a man. And it's weird, right?
It's very strange.
I would not back my kid. I mean, I could still be like, oh my God, what's happened to my kid? Why did they do this? I still love them. But I could not back them blindly like that. I couldn't live with it. I would be the first one in there like, what the fuck did you do? I mean, I'd be the first one.
Well, I just don't know how as a parent you wouldn't be aware that your kid was out committing these,
your kid's living it, running people out of their house.
Staying at somebody's house, unsupervised. I mean, where are his parents when he's out running the streets?
Well, that one family, he runs the families off, and it's been like 2 days later, the dad comes back.
Still there?
And he's been there the whole time probably. So, I mean, that's a great point, Heather. I mean, it's got lead you to believe that he's in a unhealthy household that doesn't have, proper relationships. I would be like, where the hell's my kid at? They're not going to be gone for a long weekend and run some people off. I was reading
about the house because on one of the appeals, Daniel's attorneys were trying to say that the cops that they illegally searched the home because it sounds like the house sounds very strange, almost like it was like a multifamily home,
really
type of layout or something.
Yeah,
but it was just the LaPlante and the Moore family that lived there. Elaine and her 2 sons, and I guess she and David had a son together. From their marriage, kind of thing. But that the older son lived in some other sort of part of the house that you had to go, through some corridors to get to. And so they were trying to say, well, how did the police know that this was the right home? And, of course, the judge is like, well, if they went to the town and confirmed that this is a single family that lives in this residence, then I think we know that it's your home.
Well, I don't think people realize sometimes the verbiage and what's stated and the intention stated in a warrant, search warrant, is very important.
Well, it almost sounds like they lived in sort of a strange house.
Some weird add-on, do-it-yourself type of shit.
Yes.
With like weird rooms built on and all.
Perhaps.
Yeah. I've lived in houses kind of like
yeah,
that.
like it was almost like maybe buildings on the property. It sounds like there was a lot of junk cars, animals.
You said it was described as a barnyard and junk.
Yes.
So it's some weird house. It's dusty. I'm going to imagine it's unkept. Grass grown up, stuff laying around. Yeah.
Yeah, Dylan, that's what it sounds like.
I don't know what to say. Fuck Daniel. I'm glad he's in jail.
It's a very disturbing story.
It's disgusting. It's horrible. I mean, it's just...
This is like things horror movies are made about.
That poor
like
man.
A stranger living in the walls.
Poor man comes home, can't reach his wife, which is unusual, and just already got like a sinking feeling. But you always expect, oh, the phone was messed up, or oh, this, or you go through the door, there they are, everybody's okay, and they explain to you what happened. And just a graveyard silence in the house when you know it's a house that's lived in.
There are kids.
There's kids,
little
lights,
kids.
warmth.
They're happy to see you home every day.
Even if you're like, give me a minute. Even if you're tired and stuff, you still you need to see them.
No, it's really sad.
And there's just nothing as quiet. And as you investigate, you find your pregnant wife dead.
One of the most disturbing
And you can't even
details
look
of
for
the
your
case
kids.
that I didn't mention, but I will say, is that 7-year-old Abigail had defensive wounds as though she had fought her attacker, a little girl, fighting for her life.
My God.
That's how I know Daniel LaPlante is a monster.
Yeah. He is. He is a monster. All right, Heather, thank you.
You're welcome, Dylan. If you have a case suggestion, you can always shoot us an email, mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com. We've actually gotten some really good cases from listeners over the last couple of weeks. So there's a few that I'm going to sink my teeth into. We're going to deep dive, see what we can find.
Our listeners are intelligent. I mean, that's all there is to it. And once and just to prove your intelligence, whatever player you listen to Mountain Murders on, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That really helps our numbers on the front end, and we would love it if everyone, if you listen to this podcast, hit the subscribe button or else.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to threaten your ass.
Have a happy Labor Day weekend. Hopefully you won't be laboring on Monday.
No, and when you hear this, think
Enjoy
about
your long break.
how grimy me and Heather are at the music festival.
Yeah,
by the time you hear this.
It's like a wedding anniversary gift.
It is.
To each other from each other.
Double high five.
Yeah. So in August, the end of August, we've been married 5 years.
And it doesn't feel like 5 years.
And December will be 5 years of podcasting together.
What the hell?
We're approaching our 5-year podcast anniversary.
Oh my
Isn't that
God.
exciting?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
We started podcasting right after we met.
It's true.
I'm podcasting right now.
Oh my goodness.
All right, everyone, stay safe and hope you have a fun weekend. And we will see you at the midweek.
Get some rest, relax, rejuvenate. Bye.
Bye.